The news hit human space like a shockwave. On Earth, in crowded cities and quiet towns, screens lit up with the same footage. Grainy images from New Haven showed black Krelix ships landing, beams cutting through homes, people running in fear. Then came the sound that stopped everyone cold, a small boy's voice, trembling but clear. "Please let me go home. I want my mom and dad, please." Ethan Harper's cry played over and over. News channels looped it, social feeds shared it, millions of times. Parents everywhere felt it in their chests. Fathers clenched their fists. Mothers held their own children closer and whispered, "Never again." In a small apartment on Mars, Kevin Brooks sat alone. He was 62, retired from the fleet after 30 years of service. Gray hair, strong hands still calloused from years on deck. He watched the broadcast on his wall screen. When Ethan's voice came through, Kevin's eyes narrowed. He stood up slowly, walked to his closet, and pulled out an old uniform jacket. The patches were faded, but the fleet insignia still shone. He put it on. Across the solar system, on Luna Base, Megan Torres worked in intelligence. She was 34, quick with numbers and patterns. Her team had been tracking Krelix movements for months. Now she pulled up every scrap of data on the raid. Ship signatures, jump vectors, prisoner counts. She sent a tight beam message to Fleet Command. "They have at least 20 children, including one boy, Ethan Harper, age 6. Coordinates point toward Krelix mortar space. We can intercept if we move now." The United Terran Alliance headquarters on Earth was usually calm. That day, it was chaos. Phones rang without stop. People stood outside the main gates with signs. "Bring our children home. No mercy for raiders." A mother held up a photo of her own son, the same age as Ethan. Tears ran down her face. Politicians who once said frontier attacks were isolated incidents now faced angry crowds. One senator tried to speak on live feed. "We must consider diplomacy." The crowd booed so loud the microphones cut out. Another leader stepped forward. "Humanity does not leave its own behind. Not ever." Orders went out fast. Ships in dry dock got emergency repairs. Crews were called back from leave. Supply lines shifted to war footing. The Alliance fleet, often spread thin on patrol, began to gather. On board the heavy cruiser Independence, Captain Ryan Caldwell read the reports. He was 45, tall, with short dark hair and calm blue eyes. He had led missions before, but nothing like this. His executive officer, a woman named Sophia Grant, stood beside him on the bridge. "Public pressure is at maximum," she said. "They want action." Ryan nodded. "Then we give it to them. Plot a course to the last known Krelix vector. Full speed." The Independence jumped first. Other ships followed. Carriers, destroyers, stealth scouts. They moved like wolves closing on a herd. Far away in the black between stars, the Krelix fleet traveled slow and sure. Their ships were big, built for carrying loot and slaves. Commander Vexstar sat in his command throne, surrounded by clicking officers. He reviewed the raid logs. "Easy pickings," he said. "The humans broke like dry shells." One officer played Ethan's recording again, for amusement. The crew made low hissing laughs. "Such noise from so small a thing," Vexstar said. "We will break them further in the labor pits." They did not notice the faint signals at the edge of their sensors. Tiny probes, human-made, drifting silent, watching, sending data back home. On New Haven, Daniel Harper refused to stay in the medical tent. His shoulder was bandaged, but pain did not stop him. He walked the ruined streets, helping survivors. Laura stayed close, her eyes red from crying. "We have to do something," Daniel said. "I can't sit here." A shuttle landed that evening. It carried fleet officers. One stepped out, a lieutenant named Brian Hayes. "Mr. Harper," he said, "the Alliance is mobilizing. We are going after them." Daniel looked at him. "I want to go too." Brian hesitated. "It's not protocol." I know my son, Daniel cut in. I know the colony. If you need someone who can identify faces, who can talk to the prisoners when we find them, that's me. Laura stepped forward. I'm coming too. Brian looked between them. He saw the fire in their eyes. Get your gear. We leave in 2 hours. They boarded the rescue cruiser Vigilant. It was fast, armed, built for exactly this kind of mission. Daniel sat in the passenger hold, staring at a photo of Ethan on his wrist display. The boy smiled, holding a flower he had picked last spring. Laura put her hand on his. We will bring him back, she said. Daniel nodded. Yes, we will. As the Vigilant jumped into hyperspace, more ships joined the hunt. From every human world, vessels moved toward one point. The cry that started as a child's plea had grown into something else. It was a call that echoed through every human heart. On a distant relay station, an old miner named Jack Riley heard the broadcast while eating dinner. He had no family left, but he remembered what it felt like to lose people. He sent a message to Fleet Command, "Take my ship if you need it. It's old, but the engines still run hot." Messages like his came by the thousands. Volunteers, donations, offers of help. Humanity had been quiet for a long time, focused on building, exploring, living. Now it woke up angry. In the void, the Krelliks continued their journey. They laughed at the weakness they had seen. They planned how to sell the captives, how to use the resources. They had no idea. Aboard the flagship of the growing human force, Admiral Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge. She was 50, stern, respected. She looked at the tactical map. Dots representing ships blinked green as more joined. Status, she said. 42 vessels confirmed en route, an officer reported. More coming. Public support is holding at 98%. Lisa allowed a small smile. Good. Send this message to all ships. She stepped to the comm panel. Her voice went out clear and firm. This is Admiral Morgan. The Krelliks have taken our people. They have taken our children. We do not ask. We do not beg. We take them back, and we make sure no one ever tries this again. The words reached every bridge, every cockpit. Crews straightened. Engines burned brighter. Somewhere in the black, Ethan's small voice still echoed in recordings. But now it carried a different weight. It was no longer just a cry for mercy. It was the sound that had awakened a giant. The hunt had begun. The human fleet moved through space like a silent storm. Ships from every corner of human territory came together. Carriers carried fighters. Destroyers carried heavy guns. Stealth scouts slipped ahead to watch and listen. They all followed the same path the Krelliks had taken. Admiral Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the flagship Endurance. She was tall and calm. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. She looked at the big screen that showed the map of stars. Red dots marked the Krellik ships. Green dots showed her own force closing in. Time to first contact? She asked. 2 hours, the navigation officer answered. We will hit their scout group at the Delta jump point. Lisa nodded. Good. No warnings, no talks. Hit them hard and fast. In the fleet, crews prepared. Engineers checked weapons. Pilots sat in cockpits. Medics stocked supplies. Everyone knew why they were here. The recording of Ethan's voice played quietly in many ships. It kept the anger alive. On the rescue cruiser Vigilant, Daniel Harper sat in the passenger area. He wore a borrowed combat suit. It was too big, but it would protect him. Laura sat next to him. She held his hand. Neither spoke much. They just looked at the small screen that showed the stars rushing by. A young soldier named Alex Rivera walked over. He was 23, fresh from training. Mr. Harper, he said, we will get your boy. I promise. Daniel looked up. Thank you. Just bring him home safe. The Delta jump point was a quiet spot in space. No planets, no stations, just empty black with a few drifting rocks. The Krellick scout group came through first. 4 medium ships. They moved slow, not expecting trouble. The human ships dropped out of jump right on top of them. The first shots came from the destroyers. Long railgun rounds flew silent and fast. They punched through Krellick's hulls like knives through paper. Air rushed out. Lights flickered and died on the alien ships. The Krellicks tried to fight back. Energy beams lit up the dark, but human point defense lasers caught most of them. Fighters launched from the carriers. They swarmed the damaged ships like angry bees. Missiles struck weak points. Explosions bloomed in silence. In minutes, 3 Krellick ships were broken hulks. The last one tried to run. A stealth scout cut it off with a tractor beam. Boarding pods shot across the gap. Human soldiers in heavy armor stormed inside. They found the crew panicked. The Krellicks clicked and hissed in fear. "Surrender," a human sergeant shouted through his translator. "Or die." Most dropped their weapons. A few fought. They died quick. The boarding team searched the ship. They found data cores, maps, prisoner lists. One name stood out. Ethan Harper, listed as juvenile specimen on the flagship. The sergeant sent the info back to the fleet. "The boy is on the main ship. They still have him." Lisa Morgan received the report. Her face stayed hard. "Push forward. Full speed to their core systems." The Krellick's commander Vexstar got the news on his flagship. Alarms screamed. Officers ran to stations. He stared at the screen, showing the battle at Delta Point. "How?" he demanded. "How did they find us so fast?" An officer answered in clicks. "Their ships appeared from nowhere. No warning. Our scouts are gone." Vexstar's claws tightened on his throne arms. "They are weak. Numbers mean nothing. Form defensive lines at Zethara. We will crush them there." He turned to the prisoner hold. Guards brought Ethan forward. The boy looked small between the tall aliens. His clothes were dirty. His eyes were red from crying. But he did not beg anymore. He just stared. Vexstar leaned close. "Your people come for you. They will fail, and when they do, you will watch them die." Ethan did not answer. He looked away. Back in human space, more ships joined every hour. Volunteers flew old freighters, turned into gunships. Mining tugs carried extra armor. The fleet grew. Megan Torres worked from a command center on Earth. She tracked every signal. "They are heading to Zethara," she told Admiral Morgan. "Their homeworld. They think the defenses there will stop us." Lisa smiled thin. "Then we will show them wrong." On the Vigilant, Daniel and Laura listened to the updates. A voice came over the speakers. "We have prisoner locations. Children are alive. Hold positions." Laura covered her mouth. Tears came. "He's still alive," she whispered. Daniel squeezed her hand. "We are close." The fleet closed the gap. Scouts reported Krellick ships gathering at Zethara. Hundreds of them. Big ones, small ones, all armed. Lisa called a fleet-wide channel. "This is Admiral Morgan. The enemy has our people. Our children. They think we will stop. They think we will talk. They are wrong. We do not stop. We do not talk. We take back what is ours, and we make sure this never happens again. For Ethan. For all of them. Full burn." Engines roared across the fleet. Ships jumped in sequence. They came out together near Zethara. The Krellicks waited in a wall formation. Their commander broadcast a message. "Humans, you enter our space. Turn back, or we kill the prisoners, starting with the child." Lisa answered. Her voice was ice. "You harm one more human, and there will be nothing left of your world to go home to. Release them now. This is your only chance." Vexstar laughed. "We do not fear you." He cut the channel. On his bridge, officers looked nervous. Reports came in. Human ships everywhere, moving fast. Precise. Vexthar ordered, fire all weapons. The battle started. Human ships danced through the enemy lines. They used speed and shields. Railguns fired in patterns. Missiles curved around defenses. Fighters slipped past the front and hit engines. Krellick's ships exploded one after another. Their beams missed more than they hit. Human armor held. Human guns did not miss. In the flagship hold, Ethan sat chained to a wall. Guards watched him. Alarms sounded. The ship shook from hits. A guard clicked at him. "Your people die soon." Ethan looked up. "No," he said quietly. "You do." Outside, a small human stealth ship slipped close. It was the size of a shuttle. Inside were special forces. They cut through the hull silent. No alarms at first. They moved fast through corridors. They shot guards with silenced weapons. They reached the hold. Daniel was with them. He carried a rifle now. His face was set hard. Shots rang out. Krellick's fell. Daniel ran to Ethan. He cut the chains with a tool. Ethan looked up. "Dad?" Daniel pulled him close. "I'm here, son. We're going home." The team fought their way out. Explosions rocked the ship. They reached their shuttle just as the flagship began to break apart. Vexthar watched from his throne as humans boarded his ship. He screamed orders, but it was too late. The battle outside raged on. Human wrath was full now. Ships burned. The Krellick's line cracked. The hunt had turned into something bigger. It was the beginning of the end for them. The battle above Zathara turned the sky into fire. Hundreds of Krellick ships formed a thick wall around their homeworld. Their hulls gleamed black under the planet's red sun. Big guns pointed outward. Smaller fighters swarmed like angry insects. Commander Vexthar stood on his flagship bridge. He watched the human fleet arrive. Green dots filled his screens, more than he expected. "Open channel," he ordered. His voice clicked sharp through the translator. The humans answered fast. Admiral Lisa Morgan's face appeared on the main screen. She looked straight at him. "Release the prisoners," she said. "All of them, now. This is your last chance." Vexthar made a low hiss that passed for laughter. "You think you can demand from us? We hold your young. One wrong move and the child dies first." Lisa did not blink. "Harm him and your entire species pays. You have 10 minutes. The channel cut. "Prepare to fire. Show them our strength." On the human side, the Endurance led the line. Ryan Caldwell stood beside Lisa on the bridge. He watched the tactical display. "Their formation is tight," he said. "Good for defense. Bad if we break through." Lisa gave the order. "All ships engage. Priority targets are command vessels and prisoner transports. Rescue teams, stand by." The human fleet moved, not in a straight charge. They split into groups. Some ships jumped short distances to appear on the flanks. Others stayed back and fired long range. Railguns spoke first. Heavy rounds crossed the gap in seconds. They slammed into Krellick's shields. Sparks flew. Shields flickered. Krellick's answered with energy lances. Beams stabbed toward the humans. Most missed. Human ships rolled and twisted. Point defense guns shredded incoming fire. Fighters launched in waves. They darted between the big ships, hunting weak spots. A Krellick's cruiser broke in half. Its pieces spun away. Another lost engines and drifted helpless. Human boarding pods shot out like arrows. They latched on to enemy hulls. Soldiers in powered armor cut inside. Daniel Harper was on one of those pods. He sat strapped in with the strike team. His hands gripped the rifle tight. Sweat ran down his face. The pod hit the Krellick's flagship with a hard thud. Cutting torches burned through the hull. Air hissed out. The team moved in fast. They cleared corridors room by room. Krellick soldiers rushed them. Claws slashed. Energy pistols fired. Humans shot back. Precise bursts dropped the aliens. Daniel stayed in the middle. He was not trained like the others, but he knew the layout from stolen data. He pointed. This way. The hold is down there. They fought deeper. Alarms screamed. The ship shook from outside hits. Lights flickered red. In the prisoner hold, Ethan sat against the wall. Chains still held his wrists. Other children huddled nearby. Some cried, some stared blank. Guards stood over them with weapons ready. The door exploded inward. Humans poured through. Shots rang out. Guards fell. One tried to grab Ethan. A soldier tackled him. Daniel pushed past. He dropped to his knees in front of his son. "Ethan," he said. His voice broke. Ethan looked up. His small face was dirty. His eyes went wide. "Dad?" Daniel cut the chains with a small laser tool. He pulled Ethan into his arms. The boy clung tight. "I knew you would come," Ethan whispered. Daniel held him close. "Always." The team formed a circle around them. They fought back toward the pod. More Krellicks came. The battle was close and brutal. A claw slashed Daniel's arm. He ignored the pain. He kept Ethan behind him. A soldier took a hit to the chest plate. He kept firing. They reached the breach. The pod waited. They piled in. The hatch sealed. The pod pulled away, just as another explosion rocked the flagship. Outside, the fight grew worse for the Krellicks. Their wall broke in places. Human ships pushed through gaps. Carriers launched more fighters. Destroyers pounded the big targets. One by one, Krellick's vessels went dark. Vexthar watched his fleet die. Screens showed red warnings. Hull breaches. Lost weapons. Engines failing. "Status," he demanded. An officer clicked fast. "Half our ships destroyed or disabled. Humans board everywhere. They free prisoners as they go." Vexthar's claws dug into his throne. "Send the surrender signal. All ships, cease fire." He opened a channel to the Endurance. His voice shook now. "Humans, we ask for terms. Mercy, we did not know your strength." Lisa appeared again. Her face was stone. "You knew enough to take children. You knew enough to laugh at their cries. Mercy was yours to give then. You chose not to." Vexthar lowered his head. "We surrender. Unconditional. Take the prisoners. Leave our world." Lisa paused. "All prisoners released. All ships stand down. Your leaders will come to Earth for judgment. Any resistance, and we finish what we started." The Krellick's flagship went quiet. Lights dimmed. Weapons powered off. Across the battlefield, the same happened. Ships stopped firing. Boarding teams secured decks. Prisoners walked free. Children ran to waiting arms. Medics checked wounds. On the Vigilant, Laura waited in the medical bay. She paced. Her hands twisted together. A comm officer ran in. "They have him. Daniel and Ethan are safe. Shuttle inbound." Laura's knees went weak. She sat down hard. Tears came fast. Minutes later, the shuttle docked. The hatch opened. Daniel stepped out, carrying Ethan. The boy looked tired, but alive. Laura ran forward. She wrapped them both in her arms. She cried into Daniel's shoulder. Ethan buried his face in her neck. "We're home," Daniel said. "All of us." The fleet pulled back slowly. They left scouts to watch. Transports carried the freed prisoners. Medical ships treated the hurt. Zethara hung below, quiet now. Smoke rose from damaged cities, but the worlds still live. Admiral Morgan stood on the Endurance bridge. She looked at the reports. Casualties low on the human side. Krellick's losses heavy. The message was clear. She sent one final broadcast to the Krellics. "Your dominion ends here. No more raids. No more slaves. Cross human space again, and we come back. Next time, we do not stop." The channel closed. In the days that followed, treaties were signed. Krellick's leaders arrived on Earth under guard. They agreed to borders. They paid reparations in metals and tech. They swore never to touch humans again. Word spread through the galaxy. Alien traders whispered in ports. Old empires listened. A new truth took hold. Humans forgive many things, but touch their children and the galaxy burns. On New Haven, the colony rebuilt. Fields were planted again. Homes rose from ruins. Ethan played in the grass once more. He still woke sometimes from bad dreams, but his parents were there. They held him until the fear passed. Daniel and Laura watched him from the porch one evening. The two moons rose bright. "He smiles more now," Laura said. Daniel nodded. He knows he's safe. The cry that started it all was quiet now, but it had changed everything. It had shown the galaxy what happened when humanity's mercy turned to wrath, and nothing would ever be the same. The fleet returned home, slow and steady. Ships that had fought hard now carried the weight of victory and loss. Medics worked around the clock on the wounded. Engineers patched hulls still smoking from battle. But the mood on every bridge and deck was different now. It was not just relief. It was pride mixed with something deeper. A quiet understanding that humanity had shown its true face to the galaxy. On the Endurance, Admiral Lisa Morgan stood alone in her ready room. She looked at a hollow display of Zethara shrinking behind them. Reports scrolled across the screen. Krellick's surrender was complete. Their leaders had boarded shuttles under heavy guard. They would face trial on Earth. The Dominion fleet, what remained of it, stayed in orbit, weapons cold, engines silent. Treaties were already being written, orders redrawn, promises made in fear. Lisa turned off the display. She sat down and rubbed her eyes. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself a small breath. The cry that started everything still echoed in her mind. A child's voice had done what armies and diplomats could not. It had united a species. News feeds across human worlds carried the same images. Rescued children stepping off shuttles, parents running to meet them. Tears, hugs, smiles that had been gone too long. Ethan's face appeared most often. The small boy with brown hair, now clean and safe, holding his mother's hand. Reporters called him the boy who woke the giant. The phrase spread fast. On New Haven the colony looked different. Fresh soil covered old craters. New walls rose where homes had burned. People worked together without complaint. Neighbors who once argued now shared tools and meals. The raid had taken much, but it had given something too. A bond stronger than before. Daniel Harper walked the fields with Ethan. The boy ran ahead, kicking stones. He laughed when a glowing insect landed on his arm. Daniel watched him, a soft smile on his face. The nightmares still came some nights. Ethan would wake crying. Daniel or Laura would hold him until he slept again. But the bad dreams came less often now. Laura taught school again. The classroom was bigger. More children attended. Some were from other colonies, sent to New Haven for a fresh start. Laura told stories of courage. She never mentioned the raid directly, but the children knew. They drew pictures of ships and stars. Some drew humans standing tall. One afternoon, a shuttle landed on the colony pad. Admiral Lisa Morgan stepped out. She wore her dress uniform. No weapons, just a small case in her hand. Daniel and Laura met her at the edge of the field. "Admiral," Daniel said. He shook her hand. Lisa looked at Ethan playing nearby. "He's grown since the photos." Laura smiled. "He eats everything now." Lisa opened the case. Inside was a small medal, simple silver with a star engraved on it. "The Alliance wants him to have this, for bravery." Daniel took it. He was scared, that's all. "Being scared and still holding on," Lisa said. "That's bravery." She knelt down as Ethan ran over. He looked up at her with wide eyes. "Hello," Lisa said. I'm Lisa. I helped bring you home. Ethan nodded. Thank you. Lisa pinned the medal to his shirt. It looked big on his small chest. Wear it when you want, she said, or keep it safe. It's yours. Ethan touched it. Does it mean I'm strong? It means you're part of something bigger, Lisa answered. All of us are. She stood. The galaxy is watching now. They know what happens when you take one of ours, especially the young ones. Daniel nodded. Will it last? Lisa looked at the sky. It has to. We made sure the message was clear. She left soon after. Her shuttle rose quiet into the blue. Years passed. New Haven grew. More families came. Schools expanded. Fields stretched farther. Ethan grew tall. He studied engineering like his father. He fixed machines and built new ones. But he never forgot. Sometimes he sat on the porch at night and looked at the stars. He wondered about the Krelliks, if they remembered too. The Krelliks' dominion changed. Their raids stopped. Their ships stayed in their own space. Traders came to human worlds, careful and polite. They spoke softly. They paid fair prices. Old stories spread among alien species, whispers in dark ports. Do not touch human children. Their mercy ends there. Their wrath has no limit. Other races listened. Some tested the borders once or twice. Small incidents. Each time, human ships appeared fast. Each time, the testing stopped. The galaxy learned. On Earth, memorials rose. Simple stones with names of those lost on New Haven. One stone carried Ethan's words, "Please let me go home." Carved small but clear. People visited. They left flowers. They told their children the story. Kevin Brooks, the old captain from Mars, lived long enough to see the change. He sat in his chair one evening, watching the news. A report showed alien ambassadors signing new peace accords. He smiled. One small voice, he said to the empty room, and the stars listened. Megan Torres rose high in intelligence. She tracked threats before they grew. She always kept one file open. The New Haven raid, a reminder. Ryan Caldwell commanded fleets for many years. He retired to a quiet farm. But he never forgot the battle above Zathara. When young officers asked for advice, he told them the same thing. Protect the weak, fight for the innocent, and never underestimate what a parent's love can do. Daniel and Laura grew old together. Their hair turned gray, their steps slowed. But they still walked the fields with Ethan and his own children. Grandkids ran ahead now, laughing. The same glowing insects danced at night. One evening, as the two moons rose, Daniel sat on the porch with Laura. Ethan joined them. His son sat on his lap. "Grandpa," the little boy asked, "did bad aliens really take you once?" Ethan smiled. "A long time ago, but your great-grandpa and grandma came for me, and everyone helped." The boy looked at the stars. "Are they still out there?" "Yes," Ethan said, "but they know better now." Daniel put his arm around Laura. She leaned against him. The night was warm. The fields smelled of fresh earth. The cry for mercy had been small, a child's voice in the dark, but it had traveled far. It had reached hearts that were ready to answer. It had turned fear into fury, mercy into justice, weakness into strength. Humanity had always been kind when it could, forgiving when it was right. But the galaxy now knew the other side. When pushed too far, when the innocent suffered, when a child called out. Then humanity woke, and its wrath was a thing to fear. The stars stayed quiet after that. Trade continued. Exploration went on. But an unspoken rule held firm across every species. Do not harm the young of Earth, because their cry would not go unanswered. And the answer would shake worlds. The planet New Haven was far from Earth, a quiet world with green fields and clear blue skies. Humans had built a small colony there many years ago. It was a peaceful place where families lived simple lives. They grew crops, fixed machines, and raised their children under 2 bright moons. Daniel Harper was the man in charge of the colony. He was an engineer who knew how to keep things running. His wife, Laura, taught the children in a small school building made of metal and wood. Their son Ethan was 6 years old. He had brown hair and liked to run through the tall grass, chasing insects that glowed at night. One morning, Ethan sat on the porch of their home while Daniel checked the water pumps. Laura came out with a plate of fresh bread. "Eat something before you go play," she said with a smile. Ethan took a piece and bit into it. "Mom, can we go see the river today?" he asked. "Maybe after school," Laura answered. Daniel looked up from his tools. "The pumps are good today. No leaks. We have plenty of water for the fields." Life on New Haven was calm. The people traded with alien ships that came once every few months. One group was the Krelix Dominion. They looked like large insects with hard shells, many legs, and sharp claws. The Krelix were tall, about twice the height of a human. Their eyes were black and shiny. They spoke in clicks and hisses through translators. The humans thought the Krelix were strange, but not dangerous. Trade went well. The aliens took grain and tools. In return, they gave rare metals and energy cells. No one worried much. But on that day, everything changed. In the afternoon, sensors at the edge of the colony beeped. A warning light flashed on Daniel's control panel. He ran to the main building. "Ships incoming," he said to the others. "Not our trade group. These are different." Laura gathered the children inside the school. Ethan held her hand tight. "Are they friends, Mom?" he asked. "I hope so," she said, but her voice shook a little. The Krelix fleet dropped from the sky like dark clouds. 10 large ships, black and spiked, landed hard on the open ground. Dust flew everywhere. Soldiers poured out. They moved fast on their many legs. Their claws clicked against the dirt. Daniel stood at the front with a small group of defenders. They had basic rifles and shields. "We come in peace," Daniel called through the speaker. "What do you want?" The Krelix commander stepped forward. His shell was marked with red lines. "Resources," he said, in a cold translated voice. "And workers. Your world is weak. You will give what we take." Daniel shook his head. "We can talk. Trade. No need for fighting." The commander laughed, a sharp clicking sound. "Talk is for equals. You are not." The attack started fast. Krelix soldiers fired energy weapons. Beams cut through walls and people. Screams filled the air. Daniel's group fired back, but their shots bounced off the hard shells. Many humans fell. Laura pulled the children to the back of the school. "Stay down," she whispered. Ethan cried softly. "I want Dad," he said. Outside, the raiders rounded up survivors. They used nets and chains. Some humans tried to run, but the Krelix were quick. They grabbed people and dragged them to the ships. Ethan slipped away from Laura in the panic. He ran toward the fields, hoping to hide, but a Krelix soldier saw him. The alien reached down with long arms and picked the boy up like a toy. Ethan kicked and screamed, "Let me go! Mom! Dad!" The soldier carried him to a transport ship. Inside the dark hold, Ethan was thrown onto the floor with other captives. Chains locked around his small wrists. He looked around, eyes wide with fear. Adults from the colony sat nearby, hurt and quiet. Daniel fought to reach the ships. He shot at the aliens, but a beam hit his shoulder. Pain burned through him. He fell to one knee. Laura ran out, screaming his name. She saw Ethan being taken away. "No!" she cried. She pushed past broken walls and reached an open comm channel on a fallen radio. Her voice went out across space. "They are taking our children. Please, someone help." Inside the ship, Ethan struggled against the chains. Tears ran down his face. "Please," he said in a small voice, "let me go home. I want my mom and dad. Please." The words came out over the open frequency. The Kralix had not closed the channel. Ethan's cry traveled far, picked up by relays and ships across many light years. The Kralix commander listened for a moment. He made a clicking laugh. "Listen to the little one beg," he said to his crew. "Weak creatures, they cry like young larvae." They did not know. That small voice, full of fear and hope, had started something big. It reached human ears on distant worlds. Parents heard it. Soldiers heard it. Leaders heard it. On the ground, Daniel crawled toward Laura. Blood ran from his wound. She held him. "They took Ethan," she whispered. "Our boy." Daniel looked up at the sky where the ships rose. "We will get him back," he said. His voice was low but strong. "We will get them all back." The Krelix ships jumped away, leaving smoke and ruin behind. New Haven was quiet now, except for the sobs of those left alive. But the cry for mercy had gone out. It would not be forgotten.